Hi, and welcome back to Can I Be Honest with Megan Coleman. Today on episode 11, I sit down with Gina Caples. Gina is a wife to a lineman, and they have 2 children together. She has a couple of pretty intense birth stories, so she opens up to me about what motherhood has been like for her on this journey so far and what inspired her to open her own business, making bread out of her home. She's very down to earth and honest to me about what life has been like, so I hope you enjoy this episode.
I've seen you like a really long time, I feel like.
Yeah. I don't know. Like,
I don't even know if I've seen you since you had kids.
No, I don't think so.
I saw your mom when I worked at Sammy's. When Sammy's was open, she used to come in there.
That's exactly what my mom said when I told her.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so go ahead and start wherever you want.
Well, I guess I met my husband when I was 19, and he was 23, and we kind of randomly met. I had like one guy roommate who I didn't really ever even hang out with that much, but we happened to be hanging out with him that night, and my husband was in town. He was like a friend of my roommate's. Mm-hmm. And he was making a joke to one of my friends, and I'm like, who is this guy? And she didn't think he was funny. I didn't even know that I knew the reference of his joke. I just kind of thought he was funny and like thought I would give him a really hard time because I didn't recognize him at the party. He was like the only guy there that I was like, I do not know who this guy is.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, I'm staying the night at this guy Jorge's house. And I was like, oh, you're staying the night at my house? And he's like, what? I was like, that's my roommate. So we ended up just like talking on the couch till like 5 in the morning. And pretty much when we met, we were both not working because I was on disability and he was on unemployment and just got laid off. He was a plumber when I first met him. And we just kind of like moved in together, sort of. We just started living together, I guess. I had roommates, so it wasn't like ever officially said, I guess, until we moved into the next place. But like within the first month or 2, he had stuff at my place.
Oh, okay.
And I had never lived with anybody, I was 19. You know?
Yeah.
I had never had even a serious relationship before him. And he was the same way. Well, we met there. I was in Chico. And we moved up to Redding, and I went back to college because I kind of just like partied my days away a little bit in Chico and didn't know what I wanted to do with college. And so I ended up finishing college like back at Butte when I was pregnant with my son. But yeah, so we moved back down this way. It was like as soon as we gave up having our own place was immediately when we got pregnant because he was like done with wanting to be a plumber and he's like, I just can't do this anymore. And he wanted to sign up for the lineman college, which happened to be like one of 3 schools is like in his hometown. Mm-hmm. So we were like, okay, we'll move into your brother's.
Which is Redding?
It was in Orville, but his brother lives out in Live Oak, which is like a tiny 2 stoplight town by Yuba City. Mm-hmm. And like there's like a Mexican market and like a Dollar General.
Yeah.
Pretty much it. Yeah, like a Subway. So I commuted to school 4 days a week, and I was working at the grocery store still. They just kind of transferred me wherever, up in Redding, down back to Orville. So I just eventually, I just couldn't take it on my feet and stuff, and
because you were pregnant.
Yeah, I got pregnant on the 4th of July, not knowing, and then I started my job on the 5th.
Oh wow.
So I didn't know, and I was going into like a mostly food service type of work, but I kind of worked all over the place.
It was a surprise. You guys weren't trying to get
Yeah, we were not trying.
Okay.
We were engaged.
Oh.
We had got engaged. I guess I skipped that. We got engaged about 2.5 years in our relationship. Mm-hmm. He actually planned like a cute. We went on it was a river romance boat, and it's like the guy like paddles you out there and like cooks dinner for you on the boat, and he plays like Italian music and you crack open the wine, and I was like, it was really cute. It was just us, so it was nice. It was actually my birthday weekend, and so Cinco de Mayo is actually our that's the day when we got engaged.
Oh, Cinco de Mayo is the day Peter and I met.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's
we met Labor Day, and we don't know when we started dating, so we're just like Labor Day.
Yeah.
Because apparently we weren't keeping track. We just got married last year, which was it was great because I felt like I know him so much better, and I feel like so many doubts like I would have had, you know, especially as a new mom, you just have like a million doubts, like, is this my life? Like, what did I just get myself into? And like, your husband is not always gonna 100% understand everything that you go through. Like, it's a different being attacked. I don't know.
Yeah, so like as a new mom and then adding a second baby and then...
Yeah, and well, so I quit my job when I had my son because we ended up living, it didn't work out as brothers. We ended up living with his sister and her fiance because our fiancés had jobs together, like me and my sister-in-law. Oh. We were like not legal sister-in-laws yet, but she doesn't have any sisters and I don't have any sisters. Mm-hmm. And we were actually the same age.
Oh.
And so like we totally, even though we're totally different, we totally get along and bond and stuff. And so I took on her daughter when I was on maternity leave, and she was 2.
Oh my god.
And I love my niece. Like, she is what made me fall in love with having babies. Like, it's like she was the first baby I got to hold, change a diaper, like any of that. Like, they handed me off a 6-pound baby at the hospital. I was like, oh my god, can I sit down? Like, I can't hold this baby.
Yeah.
But she reminds me a lot of my daughter. So it's really cool to see like the connection. And then my son got to be kind of raised with her, and she's an only child. So it's cool that they have that bond.
Yeah.
But it did throw me into being a mom of 2 like really fast. Or like a mom of 2.
Right, yeah, so you were taking care of a 2-year-old boy.
Yeah, like 12 hours a day. So she worked, my sister-in-law worked at the hospital, and we didn't always pay rent to them. I think once they bought a place, we were all paying rent, and I just did free nannying.
Yeah.
And we had 1 bedroom, like my son was in the room with us until we just moved out. Like, I think I felt really like I was starting to have postpartum symptoms, but it was like kind of late. It was like 7-8 months out, and I was just like, I don't know what is going on, but like I need to get out of here.
Did you breastfeed?
Yes, for like 4 months.
Okay, because sometimes I feel like that has a lot to do with it when you stop breastfeeding. 4 months.
Yeah, my kid got teeth at 4 months.
So did Oliver. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It is hard to tell a 4-month-old, like, don't bite.
Right? Yeah.
Because they're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And they don't understand at all. And he was just more about, like, he wanted it now. Fast.
Yeah.
Like,
he didn't keep up.
Yeah, he was like, the nursing was too slow.
Yeah.
At a certain point for him. Like, he would just scream at me. And scream. And it was like, I'll just give you the bottle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's done. And, it's okay. You know, being that it was like unplanned anyway, I wasn't ready to like lose all that freedom right away, and I felt really like stuck at home because I was isolated. I was in a town I didn't really have any friends besides like some people I knew from work.
Yeah. And how old were you?
23. I turned 24 right after I had my son.
Okay.
So I like graduated college the December before. And then after that, I like worked up until one of my bosses was like, time for a vacation.
Yeah.
Get me out of here. Like my feet were swell, and I didn't have a good workout schedule or anything with him. And I remember just being up there and like hurting. And I had a male manager who was like, I asked him one day, like, do you mind if I sit at the self-checkout in a stool just for a little bit? Because my feet are killing me. And I had been offered it before, and I had said no.
Yeah.
And it wasn't by him, but it was by somebody else. And he was like, no, like, you can't do that. And I was like, okay. And I just kind of sat there and I was like, I'm going to call Nancy.
Yeah.
And that was our store director at the time, was a woman. I was like, I'm just going to see what she thinks. You know, and I was like, hey, Nancy, do you mind if I get a stool up here, like, just for a little bit? And my feet are hurting. And she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, can I bring it to you?
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And he walks by and he sees me. With my son, I just felt like a planet. I was like 41 weeks by the time I went to have him.
Yeah.
I had to still be induced. I had no signs of labor. They're like, oh, baby looks good. I'm like, how big about you think? Because I'm at 41 weeks here, and I'm dying. And they're like, he looks about 9 pounds. And I'm like, no. Get him out. What are we waiting for, 20?
Yeah.
Like, no. And I was a big baby, and my husband was a big baby, so I'm like, let's get the show on the road here.
Yeah.
Can we start something? And now I really regret it because I spent a 3-day weekend in labor not dilating. So I got induced on a Friday, didn't start dilating till Sunday morning.
Oh my gosh. Like, how did they induce you? Medicine?
It was called a Cervidil. It's kind of like Pitocin, but it's something they put up in your cervix, and so they can take it out if your contractions get too close together. So sometimes they give a girl Pitocin and they'll just be having crazy contractions, but not dilating, so they gotta slow it down.
Yeah.
And basically that's what happened to me, but these are 12-hour things, and then they take them out, and you're just, I would never do it again. They were horrible. They immediately put it in and you feel like, I'm gonna shit myself.
Oh my god.
Oh, and I remember just going into the bathroom and being I can't.
Oh my god.
Everything. And
that was for 2 days?
That was for 2 days, and I was they had in the hospital, and they had jet tubs, thank God, because that was the only place I felt even okay. Yeah. And I kind of almost wanted to plan a water birth, but I knew they wouldn't give me an epidural, and I was like, ooh, I don't know. That might be a deal breaker.
Oh, that makes sense. I never thought of
Yeah, because you probably could drown.
Yeah, you can't control it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because I saw midwives with my son, but they didn't end up being able to deliver him because I was in labor for so long, and then I pushed for an hour and a half, and nothing was happening. And they're okay, we gotta call the doctor and get the episiotomy and get the vacuum, and it was oh my god, my midwife's out. Basically, she's had to step aside. Some doctor I don't even know is in here, and he cut me twice, and my husband says probably that was the worst thing of the whole experience. Even though I'm vomiting, have the oxygen thing, he's feeding me ice because I'm in the desert drowning apparently.
Yeah, and you can't.
You're so dehydrated.
Oh my god, so you couldn't eat for 2 days. Did they let you?
Yeah. And it was hard because I have had low blood sugar, which I don't have now, which is something I don't know, I don't have it because after my daughter, I don't know, my daughter is the whole shebang. But she cleared a lot of things up for me, I think. But especially after having such a long labor with my son and him being so big, and it was just and he really wasn't even that big. It was only 8'6", which is not terribly big. And for a first kid, I was a little nervous about my second one.
Yeah.
Which she ended up not being as big, thankfully. And the healing process with him was just horrible.
God.
Oh my god, stitches and.
So did they have to vacuum him out?
Yeah. And luckily his head didn't cone or anything because he was so overdeveloped, because he was he came out with his nails overgrown.
Yeah.
They were whoa, he came out with a fever, so I got a little bit of chest time, and then they didn't have a nursery there, which is what I really liked. They come to you for everything.
Oh.
So they have a nursery table in your room, and the nurse comes to you. And you never have to send your baby to the nursery.
Oh. Yeah.
So that was really reassuring for me. I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
That's actually, were you? So the hospital that burnt down in Paradise.
Oh, wow.
That's where I have my son. Yeah, we have a lot of friends and family there, and yeah.
Wow.
So when we moved up here, we moved in, my mom had a duplex up here. My parents divorced it was before I had my son, and they were full divorce, and they had been together 25 years.
Yeah.
And so my mom was by herself, and I was I need to get out of this town. I want to be back home by family. I need help.
Yeah.
I do. I was crying every day. I'd go to the doctor, they'd be how are you? And I'm I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time for some change.
Yeah.
So I moved up here. I got a good gym pass with a daycare, and that helped a lot. 2 months after we moved in with my mom, we got a 60-day notice, we had to move. And that was in May, which was really hard time to find a house. Everybody moves during the summer.
Yep.
Yeah. We got stuck in this apartment. So it's the year of Juliana's in this apartment, because we moved out a month after. We were in escrow.
How old was Colton when you moved here?
He was just about walking, I think. Or no, maybe it's almost 1. And because I got pregnant with, because he turned 2, and then 2 months later I had Juliana. They're 2 years and 2 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought there was a bigger gap between them.
No, and we were not trying for her as well. And so I was pretty upset when I found out I was pregnant with her. Like, I was kind of upset when I found out with my son, but I was like, at the time we were really like, it's not the worst thing that could happen. Like, he always was there for me and was like, if we ever got pregnant, like, I would ship off to the oil rigs tomorrow, like, to take care of you guys. Like, don't worry. I would always take care of you, you know? So that always made me feel good about just being with him, and especially, like, us not being married. You know, you can kind of get a lot of shit for it. Yeah. And it was like, no, like, he's not being lazy or anything like that. Like, it's not that he doesn't want to get married. Like, he wants to get married.
Yeah, well, you were engaged.
Yeah.
Which is a little different.
Right.
I mean, I had no marriage on the table when I had my...
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, well, yeah. We just didn't know how we would actually put on a wedding. It was overwhelming for me, and it was, now that I had a baby, I don't even care.
Yep.
I don't even want to focus my time on that. Like, when we decided to get married, we were just like, we're just going to go to the courthouse.
Yeah.
And we actually got offered a venue. Shady Coffee and Tea in Roseville was amazing, and they basically just let me pay for, like, food and a couple workers, and the owner just loves my little brother, and when she heard that we were getting married, she's like, oh my gosh, Gina's getting married? Well, where are they going? And my mom's like, oh, the courthouse, probably in Auburn. They have that historical, nice courthouse. I just wanted to make sure I had a dress I wanted, and, like, pictures and a honeymoon.
Yeah.
And that my kids got to be there. And, like, whoever else came, great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If you can make it, great. I didn't want to even worry about a guest list.
Yeah.
Because we can have family all over the place, and it was just really complicated to even put together a guest list, I felt like. But we ended up doing it fine. I ended up having to plan a wedding in like 4 months because here's the venue.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, I'll do it. So when I got pregnant with Juliana, it was just one of those weird, like, I went to go have a glass of wine that night, and I was like, I'm not feeling this. What?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Something wrong. Yeah.
I think I actually was able to be with my husband and tell him I was pregnant. And he was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not a nice reaction.
For both of you?
From both of us, yeah. We were both like, what are we doing? Like, it was literally one of those moments. Like,
because, I'm sorry, I cut you off. So you had just moved
into an apartment with
your mom.
With my mom.
And your son.
Yeah. And we barely had enough space. Like, we did not have enough space. And we were upstairs, and it was like, I'm pregnant, and my son is a...
baby still.
Is a moose.
Yeah. Oh.
He was huge. Like, the biggest problem I saw with my son was like, I can't pick this kid up.
Yeah.
He's breaking my back. He's so heavy. Like, he's so big even now. He's like...
yeah, he's tall.
He's so tall.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was just hurting me getting up and down the stairs. But luckily I didn't have to work. And I had a good gym routine going. But I was very, very sick. Like, very, very sick with her. It was like throwing up. It was diarrhea. It was everything. It was... I called it my morning exodus, and it wasn't even morning until late in the pregnancy. It started at 2 in the morning early in the pregnancy, and I would be like, okay, I'm up throwing up at 2 in the morning, and I would sometimes, I couldn't stop. And even with my son, I had that problem, because it was like, it was the hypoglycemia, low blood sugar thing I had going on before that makes you extra nauseous, and so, like, I don't know, I think it just turned into this fear of, like, what if I can't stop too? And then I had some medication for it, but it's like, in the first trimester, they don't want you taking it. They're like, yeah, you can't take that now. And I'm like, what do you mean I can't take this now? Like, this got me through work. You know, I worked with food.
Yeah.
I was not feeling it. And so with Juliana, I was really lucky I didn't have to work, because I would have been fired.
Yeah.
It would have been over, yeah. Yeah, even my son kind of knew what, you know, mommy's in there sick. He would mock me a little bit. Like the noise.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god. Yeah, this is not good. Luckily, he was only 2, and I don't know how much he remembers of it. He remembers the ambulance came for, like, Juliana, and that's kind of what he remembers of it all.
Yeah.
Because he was there that morning. My mom and him were both there. I had a precipituous labor, which is like a labor in under 3 hours. I had an 1.5 hour labor. Like, I woke up at 7 and I had my daughter before 9. So there was no getting to the hospital, like, at all.
Did you know you were in labor, or did you just feel?
So, like, not really.
Okay.
It's hard to explain just because I was in such a, like, a tremendous amount of pain every morning.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, that is a sign of labor. Totally is a sign of labor. But when you deal with it every day, how do you know?
You don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know until I was like, I sent my son with my mom. I come over to her and I'm like, I'm not feeling good. And
how many weeks were you?
39. Okay. And we're expecting a full 42, you know?
Right.
With my son, I was like, I swear to you, I'm not being induced again.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. I was like, because obviously he wasn't ready. And he wasn't as big as they thought. And it wasn't as big of a deal as I thought.
Yeah. Well, no, at the end of your pregnancy, though, I mean,
you're
like, get it out.
You're like, does this ever end?
Yeah.
What if he doesn't come out?
Right.
Like, it's crazy.
Well, it's not even so much what, I mean, in my experience, people look at it and they're like, just be patient, you know, he'll come. And it's like, that's not even so much what it is. It's like the mental part. Every day, is this it?
Yeah.
Is today the day? Is it? And no, it's not. Okay, that's
yeah, and at this point, I can only fit in about 3 things. Yeah. And how am I supposed to keep a bag packed?
Right? You're like, let's just get it out.
Everything that fits me, I'm wearing.
Right?
I'm wearing it today.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. But anyway, so you woke up at 7.
I woke up and I was my normal sick, and I just kind of was like extra sweaty, and I was like, just went over. My mom had just got a new job. She really couldn't ask for the time off because it was a new job. And she's thinking like, you're not going into labor. We saw how long it took last time, honey, you know.
Yeah.
And also, so like weird background, coincidental, I don't know, universe, weird thing, right? My best friend from kindergarten, her mom and my mom ended up being really, really close, like lifelong close.
Yeah.
And she battled with, I think it was rectal cancer, and she had it for like 3 years, and she actually ended up passing because she had pneumonia. She had fluid around her heart, and they like punctured her heart, and she flatlined, and she came back for like 2 days.
Wow.
I don't even know the whole story. Like, I wasn't there. I'm not her immediate family, you know. So she ended up passing, but it was weird because I had an ultrasound and it was rescheduled. And this was before she passed. And I went in there and they're like, you don't have an ultrasound today. Like, we don't even have an ultrasound tech here today. That's impossible. And I'm like, I have an ultrasound appointment today.
Yeah. Oh,
and they're like, shitty. No, you don't. And I'm like, my husband got off work. Like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
We got a babysitter. Are you freaking kidding? Because they wouldn't even let me bring my son to my appointment.
Right. Yeah.
And so I ended up having to go in by myself, and it was like 2 days after her passing. And because my son was sick, and my only babysitter had dogs and stuff in the house, and my son's allergic. And so I ended up going in there alone, and it was like, then they told me it was a girl, and I was like, I knew it was a girl. And it was weird because I already picked out her name, Juliana. My best friend from kindergarten, her mom's name is Julie. And it wasn't, I didn't pick it up, like, what I told Julie before she passed, she had come to see us for one of my brother's shows, and she stayed the night with us, and I told her, I was like, oh yeah, if I have a girl, and I just know I'm having a girl, like I do, and I feel really stupid saying it, because I don't even have sisters, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, and I'm gonna name her Juliana, and she's like, ooh, I love it, like that's such a fancy name for Julie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like she was amazing to me. Like, she had 4 kids 4 years in a row, and okay, so she's a saint.
Yeah.
She would take on me and my 2 brothers with her 4 kids.
Oh my god.
All to stay the night,
Oh my gosh.
I think I maybe saw her yell one time.
Yeah.
Like, nothing like at my house, you know what I mean?
Right.
I was like, is that even is that it?
My own 2 kids.
Oh my gosh, yeah. She was just always on top of it, like, just always seemed to have it together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just, like, I would get really homesick as a kid, and she would comfort me. Mm-hmm. Even though she had a million other kids to deal with.
Yeah.
And she would still come and be like, it's okay. I'm here. Your mom needs a break. Your parents need a break.
Oh.
I was like, I don't get that.
Yeah, why?
And now I'm like, oh my God, like, wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah.
My parents need a break. Like,
Yeah.
you have to give yourself a break.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that, like, especially with my first. I was like, I feel like people give you so much crap when you have your first kid, and it's like, I'm struggling. They're like, just wait.
Yeah,
wait
just
till you
wait
have
till
3
that-
more. Or like,
Right.
or like, just wait till they're this age, or this is worse. And it's like, God, can you just be supportive?
Yeah.
Can you just say, yeah, that time of your life can suck sometimes. Like,
Yep.
because it does.
Yeah.
And I don't know how she got through everything, but so Juliana was born the morning of Julie's birthday. The first birthday after her passing.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, and that's why my mom was in such disbelief, I think, too, in the morning, was like, she's like, I know we want her to be born on Julie's birthday, and we talked about it yesterday, and be so cool.
Yeah.
She's like, but you're probably not gonna have her today.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Mom, I forgot, okay? I didn't even think about it being Julie's birthday today.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, but now that you say it, that's like kind of weird. I got her to take, my son woke up, and I'm like, get him out of here, get him out. Like, I don't know what's going on with me.
Yeah.
And she took him to her room, which was like way on the other side of the apartment. We had a brand new apartment, soundproof floors, like brand new soundproof floors. The fan flipped on with the light switch. I had shut the door because I'm like pretty private person, even with my own mom. Like,
yeah.
I grabbed a sports bra. I was trying to be decent, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Threw it on because I'm like, she's coming in here. She's gonna come check on me. At some point, I'm like leaning over the counter, and I can just see my stomach go like, like,
Contracting.
yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I never had contractions.
Yeah.
So like up until I got induced, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, and so I was like, oh my gosh, I might be getting contraction. And they were not regular. They did not go by the time all the nurses tell you.
Yep.
Or the doctor's like, oh, they'll be 4 minutes apart.
Yeah.
Oh, you should head to the hospital right around this time. And you're just like a
Wait an
computer
hour.
clock, aren't you?
Yeah.
I was not that way. And so like, I drew myself a bath because I knew that was the most comforting thing when I had my son, was like, take the gravity off.
Yeah.
Like, you're heavy. And with him, I tensed up. I think what happened with the contractions was like they made me like tense up more than I couldn't release anything. They're like,
yeah,
you're at a 1, you're at a 2. I'm like, stop checking me.
Yeah.
It's making it worse.
Yeah.
And so I was pretty glad not actually had my cervix even like checked to see if I was dilating it with my daughter. Weird.
Yeah.
How much I had to go through at the end of my pregnancy with my son was like, checking it all the time.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Don't touch me anymore.
Right.
And I didn't even want to go back to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so
were you in like immense pain?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't think I would even be able to get down to the car.
Yeah.
Like, I'm upstairs, you know, and
yeah,
my son, my mom, nobody can carry me.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just sitting there like, what am I gonna do? But at the same time, I'm just like in so much pain. And I would sit in the tub and just like jump out when I'd have a contraction. Apparently at 39 weeks, I could jump out of a bathtub. I don't know. Like,
when you're
in labor, you're just like anything to get comfortable.
Yeah.
And so I was like, a lot of my morning sickness was like diarrhea. So I was like trying to sit on the toilet, and I had a friend who told me like, that is the most natural way to have a baby, is like sitting up. She goes, the most comfortable I felt was sitting on the toilet. And that was when my first friends had a baby, and I was like, really? I was like, that does make sense. Why do we lay on our backs?
Yeah.
How the baby gonna come out? Like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Yeah, so I actually grabbed a towel off of the door, and like, I felt her hit my pelvic floor. And I didn't know, I was just like, okay.
Like something just happened.
I was like, Mom! And she didn't hear me. Like, it was like nobody heard me.
It's like a nightmare.
Yeah. Pretty much I tell people this and they're like, I don't really want to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Me either again.
Yeah.
Nope. And so I'm like, she hits my pelvic floor and I just, like 2 pushes, I had like 2 big contractions and 2 pushes and I was holding her.
This is so insane.
And I'm just like, okay. She didn't look like my son did because he was overgrown.
Yeah.
She wasn't crying. She was breathing.
Mm-hmm.
She was perfect. I couldn't have even expected her to be that perfect.
Yeah.
She was fine. And I just like held her and I sat back into I stood up. I don't know why apparently I was the most freakish calm person you ever saw either. Or also.
Yeah.
My mom's like, she's like, ended up walking in, because once I sat down in the bath with her and I made sure she was breathing and I was like, okay, it's gonna be okay. You need to call your mom. You need to call an ambulance. And I was just like, yelled again, and she comes in and she's just, it's like a murder scene.
Yeah, I'm imagining.
It's pretty much a murder scene in there. And my son's following her. She's not even thinking I'm having a baby.
Right.
Like, it
She's
just doesn't
like,
normally
hey,
escalate that fast. And she's like, opens the door and she's like, all I wanted to ask is like, is she alive?
Yeah.
And she's like, but I didn't want to upset you because you looked so calm. And she's like, but she was like, is she okay? I think that's what she said.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I think she's okay. And we were just looking at her and she looked gray, but I didn't really realize how gray newborns look and how like the umbilical cord looks and all that. I just didn't get that good of a view with my son, I guess. Like,
yeah, no.
I was pretty freaked out.
Yeah.
So I just sat there like a freakishly calm person, I guess, and I just held her. And then when it was about 7 minutes, and my mom traced from the time like of her call. We don't really know what time Juliana was born.
Mm-hmm.
Like her birth certificate says unattended in caps, where the doctor should have signed just unattended, all caps. I'm like, great.
Because like, so do you have any idea how much time passed from when she came out and your mom came in?
I don't know.
You have no idea. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
we were just in our own world.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but it's like
not
insane.
like I would have planned that or done it again. Cool, but
no, but now
like,
it's like that's
retrospect. It's been really hard, and you know, like I just took that Enneagram test, and I'm a loyalist. And one thing about a loyalist is one of our biggest fears is being alone, being left. That's why we're so loyal.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that was like a big fear of mine. And luckily it was all fine. Like, yeah, she was fine. We had to stay an extra day just to make sure she didn't have like E. coli. Like, we had a home birth, you know. They're like, when the EMTs, they sent me literally a crew of noobs, all young guys, not one woman, not one older person.
Oh my god.
They were like my age, like younger probably.
Oh my god.
And I was like, is this a joke?
Yeah.
Like 6 of them in my tiny bathroom. I was like, is this a joke?
They're like, whoa.
They're freaked out. They were so scared. They're like looking at my mom like, do you know how to swaddle a baby? They almost grabbed like a whole knit Afghan off the thing when I had a bag packed, and like, of course nobody's thinking. And then they came in, they're like, well, have you delivered the placenta yet? And I was like, oh shit. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah. Wait, so
I'm like,
so you said 7 minutes? It took them 7 minutes to get there?
Yeah.
Okay,
so they got there really quick.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it took me to call my mom, but yeah, like I guess I just sat in the bath and I relaxed enough to be able to feel like I could yell with this new baby in my arms. I had to really yell. And I didn't want to scare her either because she wasn't crying yet.
Yeah.
And although they wanted me to make her cry.
Yeah.
But they came in and they're like, you know, have you delivered the placenta? And I didn't know, like, they have to collect the placenta when you have, I mean, I guess they probably do in the hospital, but when you have a home birth, just to make sure it's all out of your body. Because you can get, like, infections or, like, certain things from it being left in there. And I didn't know this, so, like, I was like, here, they're like, can we hold the baby? And I'm like, yeah, take her so I can try to stand up.
Did they cut your cord?
Yeah, okay. So they cut the cord. They asked my mom too. And she's like, she's like, no. Yeah. My mom's just like losing it.
Yeah.
She had 3 kids and never saw a birth like this. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
And she had natural births. She never even had an epidural.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and so they cut the cord, and then I stood up, and I was like, oh yeah, it's coming. Like, I could feel it. And I'm just like, move!
Yeah.
Move! And they're like, they're moving out of my way, but they're like, don't go on the toilet. And because I had her on the toilet, so like, all the afterbirth was already in the toilet.
Oh.
And they're like, don't do it in there, because we gotta fish it out. But I didn't know. I'm just like, fuck out of my way.
Yeah.
So I had the placenta on the toilet as well. And then I apparently walked.
Did that hurt?
They were like trying to wrap me in towels, and my mom's like finally like, she has a robe. And we're like, thank God she thought of the robe, because I'm just like I'm on some high endorphins from being a woman, I think.
Yeah.
I never got that rush because I had the epidural with my sons, I think. And I know, like, you get, like, that happy rush still. But there's, like, a different rush, I feel like. And I don't know if it's just because my extreme situation of, like, I just did that myself. I had to grab her with my own 2 hands while supporting my own body. And, like, it's like, what?
Yeah.
I can't even, there's, like, I don't know anybody I can actually relate with.
Mm-mm.
And that's what makes it hard, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was saying I walked down the stairs. Nobody carried me down the stairs. I don't know why.
What?
I apparently walked down the stairs, and my mom's like, oh my God,
done that.
why is she walking?
Yeah.
And nobody's even thinking, like literally nobody's thinking, and I'm just like, I'm going down to the baby. And I walked down the stairs. I have a picture I'll show you. Of me on the gurney with the baby and the EMTs like down at the fence at the apartments, and I'm just like, scared to death, kind of smiling and covering the baby from the sun because I had her in the morning and it was like really sunny out. And the looks when they rolled me into the hospital with a 6 pound 7 ounce baby in my arms, of like they rolled me in and I'm holding the baby and everybody in the hospital is just like,
yeah.
Did you guys just? And I'm like,
I
don't know.
Yeah, don't look at me.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how this happened. So she was like a force of nature, I feel like, and she was wild even in my stomach, and I feel like maybe that was what made me so sick. She was like, I was like motion sick.
Yeah.
I didn't think she slept.
Yeah.
Like, I'm nervous to meet her because I don't think she sleeps. I remember joining a mom's group. I'm like, anybody ever have this?
Yeah.
She just moves in her sleep.
So she does.
Yeah, I couldn't like hardly sleep her on her back, which I know you're supposed to, but she would just and like rock herself and wake herself up and put her on her stomach. Ow.
She just doesn't play by the rules.
She does not. She doesn't. Physics don't apply to her, I don't think. She's a little chunk-a-monk, and she can like. She like holds herself. She could lift her legs up past her waist and stuff. I'm like,
how old is she now?
She's 2. She's at 10 handfuls.
Yeah.
I would not trade it for the world. She's amazing. Like, it's taught me a lot about myself too, because I feel like she's more of a reflection of a lot of things that I am. My son is too, but it's different when you see it in a girl.
Yeah. Because
like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like I didn't have a sister either to like see myself in.
Yeah.
She's just so like special to me, and she like I've never like thought my like chunkiness and like just loud personality was cute. I never thought it was cute. And I see her and I'm like, God, she's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, her little chunky rolls, like I just like snuggle her all day, and I'm like, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. It just, yeah, it felt like full circle with her.
Yeah.
And now I just went recently and saw a doctor, and I'm being, so I was just rewatching one of your episodes with Elizabeth, and she said she had PCOS, and I'm being tested for that right now.
Okay.
Which is strange because I've had 2 unplanned kids, and like normally if you have PCOS, you're like not fertile, you're not ovulating. Like you can skip a period. You can have like, you pretty much have like 10 or 9 a year, and I've always kind of had like weird ones, and then they put me on birth control really, really young, and I was like, it messed with my hormones. Yeah. And I'm still trying to figure out what's normal. Like, especially 2 kids later, I'm like, you're just a different person.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, and I always have to keep up on that, like, with my husband, because I'm like, you know what? I'm not the same person that you married.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'm same, you know, last year, but like, when we got together, I'm like, I'm not always going to be the same person. I'm always growing. Like, you need to still date me. Yeah. And be asking me questions, because my answers have changed. Yeah. And, you know, it's good or bad, whatever, but my faith has changed. I am a lot more in touch with my faith now. I don't think I could have got through that really alone. Yeah. Yeah. And just kind of, after that, it was sort of undeniable. And I think I needed to go there, and, like, God wanted me to be there because, like, I'm stubborn, and he knew not just any situation of a miracle was going to change my mind. So, yeah. It changed my mind about a lot. And my husband's always been more the faith-oriented one. Like, he grew up in more of a religious household. My parents were, like, Catholic, but they were probably the least Catholic ones of their family. Like, we pretty much gave up on going to church, and you know, there's not much faith. There was no dinner prayer. Like, we sit down and we actually do have a dinner prayer. My son prays for the family now, like, if my husband's gone.
So cute.
Yeah, and he prays for the cold guys, the hungry guys, and our hardworking daddy out there. And his hours are really long right now. It's like,
yeah, he's away a lot. He's
working 7-14s. So he has no time off. It's hard for me too, because I'm like, I feel like I'm just sitting at home sometimes, but I'm like, that's important too.
Yeah. So what does that mean? What does 7-14 mean?
7 days a week, 14 hours a day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, does he come home?
No. He's not coming home right now. We just bought a new travel trailer. So even when we do go see him, it's hard. Like, the last 2 days I was up there, we stayed by the lake for like 20 days of summer. Yeah. Like, we had to reschedule. Yeah. It was amazing. It was awesome. He had a week off, and we like rented jet skis. We went kayaking. Like, we did all the fun things. We stayed, first we just camped like out at his brother's house and at his dad's. And so he got to see who we wanted to see, and then go back. He's up in Ukiah. We stayed off of Clear Lake in this little town called Nice. It's spelled like nice. And it was pretty cool. But like the last 2 days, he didn't get off till after 10. He leaves like 6 in the morning. I was like, what is going on? Yeah. He wasn't getting service all day. I'm like, it's like 10:30. And I'm like, these are our last days here, and we gotta leave. This sucks.
Yeah. So then you come home, and then what? He's still there?
Yeah. So
how long do you go between seeing him?
Well, we just got the trailer. So other than that, he stayed in, he worked in Santa Rosa for a while, which was nice. His grandma's house is in Sonoma, so we could stay at his grandma's too. You know, we can do that for so long, and then the kids want to go home. Yeah. So I'm hoping with the trailer, they did good, but I'm hoping they'll get more familiarized. They won't have to stay at hotels or Airbnbs. Yeah. Like, this is ours. Yeah. You know? My husband joked, like, oh, we could have been having so much fun in hotels and stuff right now, and I'm just like, I always wanted, like, my own. Like, I like that it's ours, you know?
Yeah, it's comfortable.
And he's more the country boy, and I'm more, like, the city girl. Yeah. So it's funny that it's, like, backwards for us, kind of. Yeah. That's what drew me to him, though. You know,
Yeah.
like, I liked the country boy.
Yeah.
I can fix my own stuff. I can take care of my woman.
Yeah.
I like that.
I want you to talk about your bread.
Yeah.
Your company.
So I actually went to college for business because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I had a friend up in Reading that I actually met her in Chico. We worked in Chico together, and then in Reading together too. And she had celiac disease, so she can't eat gluten at all, and she also had, I believe, hypoglycemia similar to what I had. And she fixed it herself with her diet. And I was like, this girl, like, she is amazing.
Yeah.
I thought she was so amazing. She was going to get her master's in psychology and, like, having to go through all her own, like, self-realization stuff and going just through a hard time with that. But she was really cool. And we could sit and just talk ideas and, like, bounce fun ideas off each other. She would, like, show me how to bake. If I got sick, she'd, like, come over with a 10-pound bag of mandarins and, like, a get well kit. Like,
yeah.
she was awesome. And I didn't really have that many friends up in Reading because we weren't there very long. We were like 2 years. And so it was nice to have somebody that, like, if our AC went out, we could actually go stay the night at her house.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was awesome. And so that really inspired me to go back to school and, like, really get my head on straight. And I worked in the bakery a lot at the grocery store, and I really liked it. And I started cake decorating, and I really liked that. But I also like didn't like it because they were really just about, like, get it done.
Yeah, like you couldn't perfect it or something.
Yeah, I couldn't take any of the time I needed to really learn, and I was so, like, pressure, like, more, get them done, and it was push them out, and it's, like, just made with this cheap, just, everything is so just condensed with so many ingredients in it. And as I was having a hard time with sugars, I was, like, trying to read ingredients on these things, and I'm like, I don't even understand this.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts. Like, I don't like buying something if I don't understand what I'm reading.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I wanted to open up, like, kind of a healthy bakery or coffee shop, juicing. I was into stuff like that. I got into kind of, more recently I got really into working out and, like, yoga, and I really want to get, like, an acro yoga swing, and start doing stuff like that. But I always kind of wanted my own, like, place to just have these things for people, and where people could eat rich food, but it wouldn't be filled with, like, corn syrup and just horrible things. There are ways to make food that is delicious without it having to be keto or gluten-free. And if you have celiac, you have to be gluten-free, I understand that. But if you have a gluten sensitivity, actually sourdough is a great alternative. Or sprouted wheat. If you sprout the wheat, it does pretty much the same job. It basically opens up, like, what's in the grain, and so the nutrients can actually be absorbed by your body. So the way they started making, like, Wonder Bread, for example, they bleach the wheat, so there's no nutritional value left in the wheat at all. They use commercial yeast, which are those little yellow packets you see at the store. I was using that's what I first started baking with, because I didn't even know how to bake bread. I was like, wow, you can make bread with 3 ingredients? That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, no shit. So I'm like, I'm gonna do that. And I was like, that's so cool. That was amazing in itself to me. And then my brother calls me one day, my younger brother, and he's just like, I was just watching this video, and he's like, it's in the metric system, and it's Irish, and, you know, but, like, he's making sourdough, and all he's using is flour and water and salt. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No way. That's how you make sourdough? And he's like, that's it. He's like, you should watch the video. So I'm, like, trying to do all these translations of math from the metric system over. It's horrible. It was, like, all off. And anyways, I was, like, putting out really bad bricks at first, and they were still edible.
Yeah.
They were still pretty decent. And people would still come over for them.
Yeah.
They were inconsistent. It's a life culture. I didn't know what I was doing, and a lot of the times I would explain that to people because they would see one picture of my bread and think, oh my god, she could do this every time, and I'm like,
yeah,
like, it's not really like that. It's, some are prettier than others. They're real.
Yeah.
Just like you can pick a pretty apple and you can pick a bruised apple. Like, it takes a lot of care, and I have to set it all up the day before. So I've been playing around with methods and stuff, and I got really interested. I've been using Instagram to, like, follow little niches and that I'm interested in instead of following like what Instagram wants me to follow.
Yeah.
Like when I first got on there, they're like, here's a bunch of perfect moms, here's like style, here's like perfect gym girls. And I'm like, oh, I just feel horrible about myself. And then I finally started listening to podcasts and stuff and finding like what they call the micro-influencer world. And it's like, these are people I can relate with.
Yeah.
And even some of them that are bigger now, but it's like, you find people who are inspirational to you, and that's what you put in front of yourself every day.
Yeah.
And I had to just stop like letting any thought get in my head of like, okay, you know, you just have a million thoughts, especially when you're staying home with your kids. Like, I'm not getting anything accomplished. I'm not bringing anything to the table. You know, it feels like everything's moving so slow, and yet everything's moving so fast, and you can get through another day and you've done nothing.
Yes.
And I just had to like accept that, you know what, I'm not gonna get a shower every day.
Yeah. Nope.
I'm sure as hell not gonna wash my hair every day.
No.
I am not gonna get the dishes done every day. I'm definitely not vacuuming every day.
Yeah.
It's like, these are all things I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna be every day.
You have to accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when somebody else comes home, and I lived with my husband and my mom. Yeah. I had 2 people to come home and tell me how clean the house wasn't.
Yeah.
And then before that, when I had the little kids, I lived at my sister-in-law's, and she was a neat freak. I love her to death. I know it's just the way she is.
Yeah.
But she'd be up doing the dishes before we could finish dinner, and I'd feel bad, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, I could never keep the house really like what she wanted.
Yeah.
And so I just always felt bad about it. But you can feel bad about it for so long, and then you just gotta let it go.
Yeah, well, you can accept the areas that you're excelling in.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm finding a creative outlet. Half the time I even have to trade that just to go to the gym, just to get my sanity and get away from my kids for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Please take them for 2 hours. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Like,
who do you leave them with? Your mom?
24-hour fitness.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Gym daycare.
I thought that they didn't.
That has been the best investment. Yeah. They're amazing. I love their daycare chicks. I go to the one in Roseville or Antelope or Citrus Heights. It just saves me so much. Like, when I can't get any extra hands and I just need a second to like plug in some music in my ears and just tune out the world for a minute. Like, I used to go to the gym and just be like, I don't know if I'm good at group workouts.
Yeah.
And I have a really bad knee and I have a bad back since I got in a car accident before I had my son. I fractured a vertebrae, and then after I had my son, I was like breaking myself trying to pick him up.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have to go back to the gym because my back is not going to get any better. Like, the heavier I get, the worse it would get.
Yeah.
And the more uncomfortable I just felt, and I just felt like I didn't want to go do anything.
Yeah.
And I think it's really easy to be like, I'm a mom now, this is the way my body is. You know, who cares? And who does care? But I didn't feel good,
right?
You know, and that's why I care.
Then, yeah,
it's because I didn't feel good, and that's what like, I've probably lost 20 pounds or so since high school.
Yeah.
And I'll see people now, and sometimes people, I don't know why it's a hard thing for me when people are like, you look so skinny, and I'm like, is that a compliment?
Yeah.
Is it? I'm just the way they say it, you know what I mean? Like,
how about you look healthy, or
yeah, like, ask me how sick I was my whole second pregnancy.
Right.
Yeah. Like, ask me how many times I've gone to the gym and didn't want to.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to be stronger for my kids. I didn't want to be skinny.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't a goal. I just wanted to be comfortable. I wanted to be able to, I knew I wasn't going to be able to buy new clothes for myself and stuff like that, because I was like, I gave up my job. Like, until we get out, you know, get financially stable.
Yeah.
And like, until recently I haven't.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna have to wear whatever crap I have that it's gonna fit weird.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you change sizes so much.
Yeah.
Your bras don't fit anymore, and your underwear doesn't fit anymore, and it's like, what even happened? Like, whose body even is this anymore?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. I lost like all my boobs after my kids.
Yep.
So it's like, it's okay. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, and I just can't care about that kind of stuff anymore. Like,
but did you feel that way all the time, or was going to the gym is what helped you get that mindset where you're like, you know what?
I started at home doing like my sister-in-law's P90X yoga videos, and I just kind of have to slow it down for myself, because P90X, like, yoga is, like, it's like an oxymoron.
Yeah.
You're, like, going fast, but you're doing yoga. You'd be, like, putting push-ups in the middle. I'm like, what is he doing? I can't do these.
Yeah.
I really can't do push-ups. It's not bad. Like, I just posted the other day, my least favorite machine to work out on is the pull-ups. Like, it was so bad. And that's just, like, that's my machine I walk up to, and I'm like, it's on.
Yeah, let's do that.
And it always shows me up. You know, it makes me sore for like a week. And I do see a lot of progress. I haven't actually like seen a lot of progress as far as like the weight I'm using. But on my body I can see progress. So that's what matters, you know? And just realizing, like, even if you can't go in and keep up with a class, and even if you're not on the same level as you think everybody else is in the gym, like, that's not important.
Yeah.
And nobody's watching you. And it's awkward to
it
go in.
Feels like it.
Yeah, and it's awkward to go in there, and I'm a curvy girl, so, like, I don't even like wearing shorts hardly, or, like, you know, anything that's putting your butt out at the gym is like, oh god.
Yeah.
You feel like everybody's staring at you, and, like, they don't give a shit.
No, nobody cares. But, like, I have the opposite problem when I say that I want to start working out. People are like, why? You're so small. And I'm like, because that's the problem,
I need to get stronger.
Yeah, I'm like so weak. I'm used to like having some muscle on me.
Yeah. And you were like, I mean, back in the soccer days, you were the fastest girl on the team.
Yeah, no, don't ask me to run now. God.
I haven't got back into it either. I'll take the stairs even to avoid running. I'll be like, because the lungs aren't handling it as well.
But yeah, so like I get what you mean. Like people are just like, oh, why?
Yeah.
You're like,
and even when it was like I didn't have stuff done at home, I think I would guilt myself. You need to stay home and get this stuff done. And it's like, you're never gonna have the energy to do any of this shit unless you go work on yourself.
Yeah.
Take 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Or, you know, whatever it is. I like to leave a 2-hour window, but I don't always take 2 hours. That's all they'll give me for the kids' care. Like, your kids can stay there for 2 hours.
Yeah. That's a long time.
Yeah. It helps me a lot.
Yeah.
Like, finding ways to, like, edit the inner voices that are, like, crazy anxiety voices, or...
Yeah.
One I call the sexy police. I just told my husband about this one. I was like, yeah, it's my inner voice. And I don't know if it's you, or if it's me, or if it's my dad, or who it is, or just like, I don't know, I just always, like, I'll get dressed up, and then I tell myself, like, what are you doing? That's so much.
Yeah.
Like, you're so extra today, whatever, you know, and I'm like, oh, whose attention are you trying to grab? And then I'm like, that is not the voice. Like, that is not what I need to be telling myself. Because,
yeah, if it makes you feel.
Yeah, if it makes me feel good, all I'm trying to be is me.
Yeah. I have one of those too.
Yeah.
I think everybody does, but.
Yeah. And especially like with brothers and just hearing like guy talk around all the time, like.
Yeah.
Just hearing how sometimes guys will talk about girls that dress a certain way or. And that I just let those voices just sit there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, it's time to clean some shit out. You know, eating the cleaner food helps.
Yeah.
Because you're not just plagued with all this fake stuff. The closer your food is to the earth, I think just the more connected you are with everything. And giving yourself a break.
Yeah.
I think being a mama too actually did help me give myself a little bit of a break. Probably because more people were giving me a break, honestly. You know, oh, you got your hands full. Like, when you have one kid, they're like, can you watch my kid too? Like,
yeah.
How many kids do you want to babysit? And that turned out not to be a good alternative for me, because I was, especially once I had the second one, it was like, oh god, no.
Yeah.
If I go back to work, it's not going to be with kids. And I always thought I love kids, and I always thought I wanted to work with kids. I like did the test for the military. It was like math teacher.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah, no thanks.
No.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. Yeah, it's funny because I know that about myself. I'm like, I'm not gonna offer to watch anybody's kids, and I was the same way. You can only do it so long with the good attitude. Right. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not gonna offer to take your kid because I probably won't be very nice to them today. So you're better off finding somebody else. Yeah. Like, it's totally important to have friends you could like, if you need to, that they're just there. Like, I have one of my good friends down the street, Lindsay, like, she would take my kids anytime. I know she would, no matter how
full her hands were or
Yeah.
whatever she's lacking, she would still take my kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to have somebody like that you can turn to.
Mm-hmm.
We bounce off each other. We're
Yeah.
there for each other when our husbands can't understand certain things. Like,
Yeah.
and they just, sometimes they won't ever, you know?
Oh, yeah. No,
That's why we need our, like, female community.
Yep.
I got a wood fire oven, and I want to do sourdough pizza parties. And, like, I want to really start with just female community.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of my people. Before I start including, like, other people. It's one of those things, I can't make very many pizzas, you know what I mean? It takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They ferment for, like, 2 or 3 days before I do them. It's got to be, like, done right there, fresh.
Yeah.
And I'm working on getting a cottage license for the loaves that I make at home.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't my home oven, technically.
Oh.
So I can't really sell pizza on that licensing.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, can I get a pizza? And I'm like, I know. But so what I'm going to do is try to have, like, meetups of some sort. Maybe just have, like, 1 ticket pricing. And then
Yeah.
you kind of can get food or beverage. It's not for the food and beverage.
Gotcha.
But
That's
just
cool.
like
That's a great
a
idea.
women's meetup, like
Yeah.
you know, because I just feel like you don't have girlfriends, you don't have anybody to go out with or lean on and talk to, and there's not really anywhere to make friends.
Yeah. Especially
Like-
with your mom. Yeah.
You go out to those places, everybody's already got their friend groups.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't come with anybody, sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Like, and I just never liked the attitude. I was always like the one to include the new kid.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and so I'm just kind of trying to play on what are my strengths.
Yeah.
And they are unique. And I just need to focus on that and let that be okay, you know?
Absolutely. I love that
Like-
idea. Let me know when I can come. But okay, so how can people find your bread?
So I have a Facebook page. I think most of it's just under Gina Marie Caples. So I have an Instagram page. It's just at Gina Marie Caples. It says Pitta Mama Sourdough. Pitta is just, there's a study, it's Ayurveda. It's like a 5,000-year-old Hindu study.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it was like a system of beliefs on whole body health. And Pitta is my energy.
Mm.
So there's like earth energy, air energy, and there's fire. And I kind of always thought, like, I'm a middle child, I'm a mediator. I felt very earth energy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a mother, I have that
Yeah.
mothering energy. I can sometimes hold and carry the weight of others. Took the test, turns out I am fire. So.
I am all about all things personality tests, so like
I had to do a little reevaluating.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and then it said something to do with like oiliness, like you run hot, kind of oily, sweaty, sour smells, and I was like sitting there making sourdough and kombucha in my kitchen, like, oh my god,
yeah.
I am attracted to sour smells.
How funny.
Like, I was
so
like,
cool. I
that's
have
what
to
I've
take
been
that
suppressing because I've been acting like a mediator, and maybe I'm not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Interesting.
maybe I just need to own my fire.
Yeah.
Instead of just sitting back and being like, you know, playing the middle child for the rest of my life. I can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, because you're
But-
comfortable with it, but
Yeah, and people might like me, but it's gonna be freaking boring.
yeah. You gotta send me that. I don't know what I am.
Yeah, it's I am Sahara Rose.
Okay.
And she has a podcast too, the
Oh, okay.
Highest Self podcast. It's really awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing
Yeah,
this.
thank
Your
you.
story is amazing, and your energy is amazing, and you're
Thank
just so
you.
grounded, and I love talking with you. So, can't wait to have pizza at your house.
I know, yes. Come over for that pizza and wine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe.